I can't really see any good guys in your particular gloomy outlook.
Well, without wishing to go over the point about this being the biggest organisation that dispenses charity outside of the United States of America, we can refer to great men that inspire non-Catholics, such as St. Francis of Assisi. We have great scientists. Who was it who discovered genetic theory? Mendel, the Catholic monk, Augustinian monk in the 19th century. Who was it who discovered it? Who brought us Big Bang theory? We have the French priest, whose name is on the tip of my tongue. And we have numerous Catholic scientists and Catholic suicides. So we've given a massive amount to the West.
There are quite a few Catholics in the world. I mean, if you could prove to me that Catholics are more likely to get Nobel Prizes than other people, I'd be impressed. In fact, it's Jews that get all the Nobel Prizes. So that would tend to say become Jewish rather than become Catholic.
Well, they're mostly secular Jews.
Okay, so what?
You can't change your race, you change your religion.
If you're going to use scientific discovery as your criteria, then the only conclusion could possibly be become a secular Jew.
Georges Lemaitre was the inventor of the Big Bang theory, just to get that from my mind.
I'm talking about a few Catholics as well.
Now, I talked about priests. I mean, I didn't mention Marie Curie. Marie Curie, a devout Catholic.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm just talking about men who are devoted to the faith.
So
those Jews are
you're
not.
saying that when we're talking about Catholics and science, you haven't excelled. Because, well, yes, you've got a few, that's true, but there are quite a few Catholics in the world. I think there are probably more Catholics than Jews, and there are more Jewish Nobel Prizes than Catholics, which means you're seriously underperforming.
No, because if you look at Jews as a ethnic group, of course they're way ahead of everybody else, and because they are. What you said is true.
If it's a course, there must be a reason.
No, well, because they are. They've got more Nobel Prizes per head than anybody else. The Scots are very, very up there as well.
Okay, so fine.
But though that is true,
become a Scottish Jew and receive God's favour, in other words.
Though this is the case, I'm pointing out religious groups, and ours is preeminence in terms of contribution to science down the centuries. After all, who established the universities of the West? The Catholic Church. So the centres of learning from which non-Catholics profit are established by Catholics.
Okay, so what you're basically saying is that Catholics are not the dunces of the world. You're seriously underperforming, but by no means the most stupid people on the planet.
I simply said that when you look at the development of scientific educational institutions, you're looking at these being Catholic establishments, and only from them can you then get the scientific developments that you get. The Industrial Revolution begins in Protestant England, but this is Anglican England, which is really effectively just warmed up Catholicism. And the Catholic Church made England for 1,000 years. Therefore, the Industrial Revolution can be said to be a Catholic product, fundamentally. Okay. So we've got that transformation of the human race by a Catholic civilization.
You're failing in the final product, but you did a lot of the groundwork, but it was stolen from you, which basically must mean that God hates you.
Well, I'm only interested in saying that we've done all this groundwork, that the fruit of this groundwork wouldn't be here but for us.
To steal it from you. That's what you're saying.
No, not at all. Nobody's stolen anything.
Well, no, you're saying you did the groundwork, but you don't get any credit because you didn't produce any final products.
Well, not at all. You see you look at the Renaissance, that was a product of Italy and medieval Catholicism.
Secularism and so forth, yes.
But you can't get to the Industrial Revolution without going through the Renaissance. And you can't get to the Industrial Revolution without the development of finance. And you find that in the Florentine banking houses, which are part of Catholic Italy, you get that development of finance, which allows then the product
none of it
to be developed.
Would have been possible if the Catholic Church had not lost its political powers, because the Catholic Church for a long time forbade the charge of interest.
Yes, and when...
So you can't take credit for banking, which is
no.
based upon the charge of interest.
How not, if the Florentine banking houses were developing at a time when the Catholic Church was extremely powerful in Italy. Okay. What we did was, we have a rule against usury.
Catholic stock charge.
Fair
enough, I'm in favour of that.
We have
don't dress it up as Catholicism.
Long-standing teaching against usury at a time when Europe was at subsistence level. When Europe develops, and ceases to be at subsistence level, it's then appropriate to consider that whether one can allow the giving and taking of interest. And so Pope Leo X in 1555 issues a bull which says under certain circumstances the giving and taking of interest is legitimate to reflect the changing economic times. It's an economic issue. It's a moral issue too, but it bites morally when you've got a subsistence economy. When you've got a developed economy, the moral issue doesn't bite so hard in all circumstances. So you develop the doctrine. There's nothing wrong with that. One would be mad.
Okay, so that's a very complicated way of being wrong without admitting it.
Oh no, it's perfectly right for the reasons I've given.